So I hope you're in a good mood to talk today about our main topic. And the topic will be body parts and giving advice. So please write in the chat how you feel, how ready are you to start the webinar today, and we are going to talk about body parts. I can see that Annika is here. That is great. So I hope that you remember some of the body parts, and today we are also going to talk more about health and healthcare, so please stay tuned, and we are going to start talking about them. So first of all, we are going just to quickly revise body parts that we have. We are working in the way that we start with the orange and finish with the blue square, so row by row. Now we are going to start with the first one, and tell me please what body part is it? Okay, good. That is a head. Next, number 2, please. All right, that is shoulders, or if it is 1, it's shoulder. Okay, number 3. All right, that is true, it's neck. Let's move on. All right, you think it's an arm, and that is true. Next, what part of arm is it? All right, elbow, good job. Next, what part of arm is it? All right, it's hand, or if we are talking about this, it's palm. That is correct. Okay, what about this one? Okay, that is a finger. Good. Next, please. Okay, it's a leg. Good. Next, please. Okay, good. It's knee. Foot. Okay. What about this one? What do we call a finger but on foot? These are toes. Nice. Okay, next. What is it? Okay, I can see one answer, and it is a stomach. Good. What part is it? Okay, I can see also the variant of liver. Okay, that may be true, but it's not liver. Okay. Next one is back. Okay, what is here? Okay, hair, good. Next one. Eyes, okay. Next one is ear. Okay, next please. Mouth, good. Next one. Okay, next one is a nose. Good job. What about this part? Yes, that is chest. Okay. Yeah, Anika, we are talking about body parts, so it can be chest pain. So, but now we are talking about just body part. Okay. Okay, next will be hip. This is a hip. And the last is chin. So there is a chin. Okay, so we revised with you some body parts, and now we are going to talk more about them and more about some organs and some body parts that we have in our body. So let's do the task right now and write the word next to the definition. So there we have with you 8 words. These are thumb, lungs, stomach, muscles, knee, wrist, tongue, and thigh. So let's start with the first one. And there we have, we need these to be able to move and lift things. What do we call this body part? Or kind of like organ, if we can say like that. Okay, pay attention that we need to use only these words. And yes, you are correct, we are talking about muscles. Let's move on to the next. And there we have the definition. We use eat when we eat. So it helps us to eat something. Okay, that is tongue. Good job. Next one, our food goes there. Okay, stomach. Next, this is the top part of our leg. All right, that is thigh. Good job. We use it for texting. Okay, thumb. Yeah, I hope you remember that thumb, it's this finger. Okay, we use it to bend our leg. Knees, right? So knees connect two parts of our leg. Okay, this joins our hand to our arm. What part is it? Okay, that is wrist. Good job. And the last, we use them for breathing. It is, I think you know that it is lungs. So, I hope you remember the translations, but let's repeat. Muscles, it's м'язи, tongue, язик, stomach, живіт, next, thigh, it's стегно, thumb, it's великий палець, knee, коліно, wrist, зап'ястя, lungs, it's легені. Okay, so now I want us to talk more about some words that are related to healthcare. And of course, when we have some problems with our health, we may have with you different states and different kind of like problems, different mood. So now we can take a look with you at the dialogue and different words there. There we have got words like pale, better, wrong, weak, dizzy, faint, unwell, sick, stressed, and relaxed. Now I want you to work individually and complete the dialogue with the words. I hope you remember all of them. If you don't remember, please write in the chat and we will work with these words more. And let's start with the first one. And here we have, your face isn't as it was yesterday. What should we have here? So, you think it's pale. Okay, good. Then let's move on. Yeah, I'm feeling much. Thanks. Number 2 is better. Okay, good. Next one. I don't know what was with me yesterday. What was wrong? What was weak? Okay, what was wrong with me? Okay, my legs suddenly felt really, we can see that it started with W, and I felt somehow. So you can write number 4 and number 5. Okay, they felt really weak, and I felt how? I felt dizzy. Okay. Okay, stressed is possible, but there we are talking about some feeling in our head. Then we have like lightheadedness. Okay, number 6. I thought I was going to. Dizzy, it's like when we are about to lose consciousness. Ми от дуже близькі до того, щоб втратити свідомість. So, it is to feel dizzy. От ви начебто вже втрачаєте свідомість. У вас запаморочення йде. Окей. So, number 6. I was going to faint. Yeah, I was going to faint. It's я б впала, yeah? Втратила б свідомість. A lot of people have been feeling how recently? They have been feeling unwell recently. Okay. Next, I felt very for a couple of days and I didn't want to eat anything. I felt very sick. Okay. Perhaps we are all feeling too out about the exams next week. Okay, stressed. And the last, I think Miss Parks is the only one in our classroom who is feeling all. So that is relaxed. Okay, so as you can see, yeah, that was true that there we have the words in the order, but let's check all of them. So pale, as you said, it was блідий. So when the color of our skin is not kind of like healthy, it is more like white, yeah? It is pale. Pale face, pale skin. So better wrong, you know. Weak, it's слабий, слабкий. Dizzy, it's about to lose consciousness. На відчувати запаморочення. Faint, втратити свідомість. So here pay attention. Dizzy, це ми ще не втратили свідомість, ми якби лише відчуваємо ось це запаморочення. Faint, це вже коли ми втрачаємо свідомість. Unwell – недобре, sick – хворобливо, нездорово, stressed, relaxed, I think you know. But sometimes we have some confusing words with you when we talk about health. And let's start with the first four pair of words that are related to the health. And I think you know that the biggest problem sometimes cause such words as ill and sick. So what is the difference between ill and sick? When we are talking about illnesses and when we feel ill, it is something more formal and long term. For example, he has been ill for weeks. So it means that the illness was for some period of time. When we are talking about COVID, when we are talking about flu, when we are talking about, for example, let it be some kind of cough, runny nose, we feel ill. But sick, it means that it was something after some action. For example, I feel sick after eating too much. So there, we can have with you some short-term kind of like painful feelings, but it doesn't mean that it is like some serious illness. We just feel kind of like not unwell. So sick is more related to unwell, not like to being really with some contagious disease. When we are talking about pain and ache, we have the same. Pain, it is something sharp and sudden. I have chest pain, I have some pain in my back, so I felt it like in a moment. it was immediate pain for us, while ache, it is some dull, continuous discomfort. For example, I have a headache. There, I have been having it for like I don't know, a day, for 2 days. Or I have a toothache. We are talking about the tooth that is kind of like that causes some discomfort for us. And also I can see some comments from you. There we have pain and ache. We have sore throat. When we talk about pain in our throat, it is sore throat. Болить горло. So there we have sore throat. I have a sore throat. But if we're talking about pain and ache, we use stomach ache, tooth ache, back ache. But pain in back, pain in stomach, or also we can say chest pain. So here we mostly use this preposition pain in somewhere instead of saying just like this common word. When we are talking about injury and wound, injury, it is a general term for physical harm. So that can be a cut, that can be a burn, anything. This is just something that we want to how to say, like to make it general. So I have an injury and I don't want to tell more about it. I just have some injury because I was at the competitions or I was at PE lesson and I got injury. So there we are talking about some general stuff. But wound, this is some specific type of injury. So when we talk about, for example, something that caused some, I don't know, blood, when we have some really seen or obvious injury. It's there when we have, cut, we can say a wound on his arm. Here you can see he has a deep wound on his arm. And we just need to remember that injury, it is something general, wound is something more specific. When we are talking about dizzy and nauseous, we already talked with you about dizziness, but we didn't talk about this word. So dizzy means that you are spinning on lightheaded. So there you can see that the person is dizzy. But nauseous, this is when you might vomit. It's like when we have dizziness. It's just запаморочення, yes? But nauseous, it's when when, for example, you are going somewhere by bus and you feel that you feel bad and you might vomit. So it's when це коли вас нудить. So dizzy – це коли у нас запаморочення, а вже nauseous – це коли нас нудить. The next, let's move on to the next words. We have with you words fever and temperature. Sometimes students have such mistake that when they say I have high fever instead of saying high temperature. So fever is already a high body temperature. So when I say I have a fever, it means that I have already, for example, 38 degrees. So there you can see that fever is already high. But temperature, it's our general measurement of body heat. So I can say just I have a high temperature without saying fever. But pay attention not to say high fever, so not to repeat yourself. Next is swollen and bruised. These are two words that may be confusing for you because swollen means an area that was enlarged, due to some injury or infection. It's when we say напухла, yes? For example, we, tore our lumps limbs and it was swollen. Тобто вона напухла. Ми її підвернули, наприклад, ногу, і вона напухла. But bruised means that there we have a different color of our skin. So it's bruised, it's синяк. So bruised skin, it's skin with bruises, with dark color. So there we can see that it is bruised skin, not swollen one. Next, there we have fracture and sprain. Fracture is a broken bone, перелом, while sprain is a stretch or torn ligament. So torn is розтягнення, розтяжка, розтягнення м'язів. So there you just need to remember that fracture, it is something broken, sprain, it is stretched ligament. And the last word that we have, these are recovery and treatment. So recovery is already the process of getting better. It's like відновлення, виліковування, or etc. Тобто ми одужуємо, yes? Одужання, it's the process of getting better. But treatment, it's лікування. So it's the medical care given to heal an illness or injury. So now I want us to work with these words and choose the correct word in different sentences. You already have them in the brackets, so now let's work with them and practice. So let's start with the first one, and there we have, after falling down the stairs, Jake was diagnosed with, in his wrist, not a break. What should we choose, fracture or sprain? Okay, that is a sprain. Good job. Number 2. I feel dizzy or nauseous when I stand up too quickly. Dizzy, yes, okay. Number 3, Emma has a high, so she might have. So there you need to put or temperature, fever, or fever, temperature. Temperature, fever, okay, good. His ankle is and painful after he twisted it during the match. All right, it is swollen. Good job. Number 5. The doctor said the best for my flu is rest and plenty of fluids. The best treatment, that is correct. Number 6. The player had to leave the field after a serious leg. And also for you to translate these words, injury, it will be like travma. So it's something more kind of like general, travma, yes. And wound, it's rana. Okay, number 7. I took some medicine and now I'm feeling much better. My from the flu is going well. My recovery, okay. And the last, I have had a terrible back for days. I think I need a massage. Okay. It is backache. So we remember that when we are talking about something that goes more than, for example, 5 minutes, that will be ache. when we are talking about some sudden, burst of pain, that will be pain. Тобто, якщо ми говоримо про довгий період часу, it's ache, от зуб ниє, болить, so it's ache. Pain – це коли різко вам заболіло, десь там серце, будь-що спина, от вкололо вас щось, оце вже pain. Okay. So, now we are going to move on talking about health. And now I want us to talk more about health problems. And now your task will be to match the parts of collocations. So, let's start with the first one. And here we have, I've got a high A, B, C, D, E, or F. What should we choose? Okay, I've got a high temperature, so I need to stay in bed. And I remind you that high temperature means fever, so they are the same. Number 2, I've got a runny nose. I need a tissue. Okay, runny nose, it's нежить. Number 3, I've got a thaw. I've got a sore throat. Хворе горло, because I've been shouting all day at the football match. I twisted my ankle because I landed badly in the long jump. Okay, good. Dad had a heart attack and had to go to hospital. That is correct. And the last, I've got an infected cut because I didn't clean it properly. What should you remember for your test? Such collocations as high temperature, runny nose, not running, runny nose, sore throat, twist ankle, heart attack, and infected cut. So please remember about them. And now, as our next topic is advice, let's talk about advice for our health issues. So there we have with you 4 of them. High temperature, runny nose, sore throat, and ankle. When we are talking about high temperature, let's think what should a person do if he or she has such problem. Okay, so when I've got a high temperature, it might be a good idea to take some paracetamol to reduce the fever. Okay, number 2, I've got a runny nose, so make sure you carry tissues and avoid cold air. I've got a sore throat. I'd suggest gargling with salt water to reduce irritation. And the last, I twisted my ankle. You'd better keep your foot elevated and apply ice. So, what should we remember from this task? The phrases to talk about advice. Here we have such phrases. You'd better, I'd suggest, it might be a good idea, and make sure you carry. So now let's talk more about models of advice. So here I used only 3 of them. Of course, you could see such phrases as it might be a good idea, you'd better. So, but now we are going to talk more about models. So, let's talk about should first of all. So, you already know that should is the model of advice and recommendation. But also, you need to remember that this word is used both in the present and in the past. You should take a break and get some rest. He shouldn't smoke so much. You should have called me. I was worried. She shouldn't have dropped out of school. So should, it's like a good idea to do something. Тобі б слід було б, yes, щось зробити. Ought to. This is the word that sometimes implies moral obligation. What is moral obligation? Моральний обов'язок. For example, you ought to call your mother more often. So, тобі б слід було б дзвонити своїй мамі частіше. Але ви скажете, чому should і ought to, як я їх маю відрізняти? So, in should ми не говоримо про моральний обов'язок, а в ought to він більш офіційний, більш формальний і зазвичай не вживається в негативних реченнях, але включає в себе моральний якийсь обов'язок. And the last, we have with you had better. Had better, this is the word that implies some sort of consequence if action is not followed. You'd better pay your taxes on time. Тобі б слід було б заплатити податки вчасно. Бо, наприклад, там ми розуміємо, що за цим стоїть якесь покарання. Бо тоді, я не знаю, тобі пришлють штраф. You had better obey the rules. Краще б дотримуватись правил, бо тоді щось станеться інше. So there we already have some consequence. It might not be seen in the text, in the sentences, but you may understand what could happen if the person doesn't do that. Yes, as Mikola says, there we can have some punishment if we don't do this action, if we don't follow the rules. But when we talk about models of advice and just models at the test, you need to remember the rules of form. So, should, as you can see, can be followed with verb or have plus third form. Ought is always used with to and verb. And had better is used with bare infinitive. So you'd better pay, you'd better obey, you'd better not cheat. Pay attention how we write it with negative. She had better not cheat. Ми not ставимо після had better. So now, I think this task will be easy for you. And you need just to check the form of these models. What we should write there. So we have got only 6 sentences. Let's make them. Okay, I can see the first answer, and you think it's A. So you had better not pack too much or you will have to take it out at the airport. Okay. Number 2. It's raining and I don't want to get my dress wet. Okay. I had better bring an umbrella. Dave loves chocolate. but he too much, or he will get fat. He shouldn't eat too much. Number 4. I'm so hot. You should take off, should to take off, or should put on your coat. You should take off your coat. That is correct. A is the correct option. Number 5. I think the grade my teacher gave me on my test is wrong. Really? You ought to talk, you should to talk, or ought talk to her after class today. So this is A. You ought to talk. Because there we need to use to after ought. And last, my mother isn't feeling well, so I told her that she to the doctor. Okay, that is B. The same, after ought we need to use to. Now, the task will be a little bit more difficult because there you need to use should, ought to, and had better. And pay attention that some sentences may be negative. So please check where we need to have negative sentence and positive one. Sometimes we can have two options, so it's okay if you have two options. So let's start doing this task. Okay, number 1, you don't look well, you to see a doctor as soon as possible. Pay attention that we are talking about had better, should, and ought to. I can see the first answers, and these are ought to, because we already have with you this small part to, and it means that we can't use had better and should. Number 2, if you have a fever, you stay in bed and rest. Okay, pay attention that we use had better. Дивіться, у нас є просто фраза had better, вона ніяк не міняється в залежності від часу. Тому що я бачу, що ви пишете have better, маєте на увазі, що це просто фраза. Тобі б краще було. You had better. Okay, but there I chose should, but it's okay to say had better. Number 3. Okay, why do we choose here had better? Because we can understand that probably there might be some consequence if he doesn't stop smoking. Він кашляв, yes, весь день. І якщо він зараз не припинить палити, напевно, його стан погіршиться. Тому ми вживаємо тут had better. Number 4. You drink plenty of water when you have the flu. I can see that you have should, and that is totally correct. Number 5. If your friend is ill, you visit him. Okay, I can see your answer. That is ought to. Here we are talking about some moral obligation, yeah? Якщо хворіє друг, напевно, краще було б його відвідати, тому що ви його друг. That is true. She feels dizzy. She lie down for a while, or she falls down. So there, we need to say with you had better, as there we are talking about some negative consequence. Okay, number 7. If you want to stay healthy, you exercise regularly. So there we need to use with you should. Okay. And number 8, you ignore chest pain. It could be something serious. So here we are talking with you about the same, some negative consequences. So it's better to say had better not. Number 9. If someone is feeling stressed, you support them and help overcome anxious emotions. Okay, I can see the question, what is the difference between ought to and should? So, should is more about just a general recommendation, and ought to is about moral obligation. Коли ми говоримо про моральний обов'язок, ми тоді вживаємо ought to. Але зазвичай ми можемо вживати їх як синоніми. Тобто, якщо ми хочемо більше показати те, що це морально краще б зробити, ми говоримо ought to. Якщо ми кажемо просто про загальну якусь рекомендацію, ми говоримо should. So, number 9 was ought to, and number 10 that is had better. As there, we can understand that sometimes we may have some negative consequences. Okay, good job. So now we are going to move on, and we're going to talk more about healthcare. And there you will have a text that is related to healthcare and health problems. Now, let's check the word that we have. There we have treatment, ambulance, home, symptoms, nurse, pain, emergency center, paramedics, urgent, and stroke. So now, if you don't know any of these words, write in the chat. If you know, we are going to move on. So, the text will be about medical help during weekends, and your task is to complete the gaps. So, let's start reading, and let's start with the first sentence. If you're ill at the weekend and you can't see a doctor because the hospital is closed, then contact the new health helpline on 789. You will be put through to an or a who will note down your something. Stroke. Stroke is сердечний приступ. So number 1 is nurse. So you will call, and some nurse on the other side of your telephone will tell you, will write down your symptoms. Yes, because I just wanted to say this. Okay, then we are going to move on. Depending on the assessment of your problem, you may speak to a doctor. He will give you advice about what to do until you can visit your local health center. If it is, the doctor on call will give you an if it's urgent, if it's terminovo, the doctor on call will give you what? What kind of a visit? He will give you a home visit. Тобто він приїде до вас додому. If, however, you are suffering chest or symptoms of chest pain or symptoms of what? Of a stroke. You may need hospital. You may need hospital treatment, yes? So you need to go to the hospital. And will come to your house where an ambulance, швидка, will come to your house where who can decide whether to take you to the accident, and paramedics to take you to accident and or not. Emergency center. So let's check the words. Nurse, it's медсестра. Symptoms, I think it's clear, it's симптоми. Urgent, терміновий. Home visit, візит додому. Stroke, сердечний приступ. Chest pain, I think you know. Hospital treatment, госпіталізація. Hospital treatment. Ambulance, швидка. Paramedics, парамедики. And emergency center, I think you know what it is. Okay, now we are having one more text with you, and there you need to put the words in the correct gap. So we have got with you 5 variants. The last is, in spite of this, Sonia wasn't too worried. And your task is to put these sentences in the text. So we have only 3 variants, only 3 gaps. I think it will be easy for you to guess. I can see E, B, okay. So number 1 is actually C, because here we are talking that they all queued along the corridor outside the nurse's room. So Sonia didn't mind because it was a chance to miss a lesson. Today it was double mess. Тобто, як ми зрозуміли, що це C? Тому що тут вже далі говориться про double mess lesson. It means that here we need to write, like, to extend this explanation. Okay, so she was beside her best mate Beth in the queue, and they chatted until it was their turn to go into the room. So, number 2. So you think it's D, and that is correct. Sonia watched while the nurse took out a needle and dropped something on Beth's skin. And the last, So the last is A. So Sonia decided to get some water that was standing on the table, so she stood up for some reason, and her legs were very weak, and then everything went dark. So she fainted. Now, I want you to remember how we work with such types of texts. We need to read the sentence before the gap and after the gap to understand what we should put in the middle. And in most of the cases there, we need to extend the text, like to extend this part that is explained afterwards. And now, here in this text, you could see such words as mind, cute, sharp, turn, chatted, and needle. So let's work with them and think what words we need to put in these gaps. So after the lesson, we for a while and then went home. Okay, I think it's easy, so we chatted for a while and then went home. Okay, our teacher's voice is very when she gets angry with us. Is very sharp. Yes. Okay. Number 3. I don't. Where to go for coffee? Where would you like to go? Okay, mind, yeah. Like, I don't care. I don't mind. For health reasons, they use NU for each injection. So needle, I think you understood that it is a holka, right? I did the washing up after dinner. It was my turn. Okay. And last, we queued for ages to get into the football match. So, that will be all for today's webinar. Please pay attention that at the platform you can have more practice. There you can see more collocations related to healthcare. So please check this test out, and also I recommend you translate all of these collocations for you to understand them like 100%. Next time we are going to talk with you about culture. So please, if you want to talk more about books, theater, and find out more information about it, please come to the next webinar and we'll talk about them. So have a nice evening and bye bye.